Maverick gets banned. Have the Maestro, Echo, Mira either being banned. There's really not a lot you can do in terms of banning for Clubhouse. Montagna is another op that I see frequently getting banned out, and well, okay, we have a problem, Houston. We're seeing Sophia being banned.
Keep going, Demo. Keep
This
giving
is,
me predictions.
This isn't the best. Very surprising. This. Unlucky, Bibu. Unlucky. It's always next season.
Maverick.
There you go. Maverick.
More typical.
No surprise. Yeah, that's it. Maverick. We know this is his best map by far. If the statistics don't lie, I'm sure there's other maps like Consulate where he can do something, but not the same impact that he provides, especially for this particular map. Also, Habana Thermite being let free, both of them. Sometimes we kind of see at least one, because it just kind of weakens the attack whenever it comes to those basement attacks.
Yeah, often taking away Hibana is very popular, and you've really got to make a decision on where you're going to use your exothermic charges then as a Thermite, but allowing both of them in. Yeah, bit of a strange one.
What is
Smoke
this?
being banned out as well. So we're going to see Echo and Maestro. I don't really know what's going on.
I'm quite surprised that Vitality's letting Echo through whenever they were the team that kind of started the trend with banning Echo, because we know Vitality, they have that playstyle of plant in the final couple of seconds. Sure, it's not the same as what it was way back in Season 8, but there is still the remains in the same bone structure that Team Vitality has always had. So this is a curious one that they're banning out Smoke, especially whenever they're starting the defense first.
Bit of a strange one. They are taking it away, sort of, taking the Smoke away for themselves, but leaving Maestro and Echo available and then not choosing to pick them does just seem a little bit strange.
Very intriguing. So this basically means that IQ has to be picked every single round, because there is, of course, Valkyrie still available and Echo being let through, so she will more than likely always be an insta pickup for the attacks, because there's always that chance that you could see Echo and Valkyrie being picked, and we know what both those operators do in the long game. Any defensive operator that has intel equipped on their loadout, it just makes them that so much more valuable in certain situations.
Camera activated.
Yeah, IQ is a valuable pickup indeed, especially when you're going to be dealing, like you say, with a Valkyrie and Goo Mines and a Pulse and potentially an Echo. IQ is going to have a field day here, I'm sure, in destroying all of the gadgets. Obviously, providing that, she's allowed to be in the position to do so. It is obviously a somewhat risky gadget to use because you are a little bit sort of vulnerable whilst you are using it. You have, of course, only got your pistol out, and you've got to get yourself in a position to be able to shoot out those electronics, but largely going to be successful at least identifying them so that they can be dealt with potentially by other members of the squad.
Another thing as well, which is quite an interesting fact, is that we have both notable Swiss players on the same team now. Pretty cool, that. I think that's pretty cool.
We certainly do. Back O'Brien.
Of course, it's Back O'Brien and Panics, by the way, if anybody didn't know that.
Top floor drone work is going to go through. Elation is going to find one over inside showers, but not aware that there's someone right behind him. Need to be doing a little better job on your drone than that. Elation going to fall very, very easily there, and that's going to be Habana down. Bibu can rotate back down onto site in full knowledge that he's done his job, but no, he will get taken off along the way by Sloppy, cleaning up that kill. But losing your Habana is going to make a bit of a decision for the sort of that Thermite to make, in that what reinforced sections is he going to open? Is he going to go for some hatches, or is he going to go for the church wall?
He has options. Seems to be blue is going to be the play. I don't really agree with that. I don't think Blue Hatch gives a whole lot in terms of the attacking side. Whenever there's a lot of bottlenecks, you can really start to grip up. Sure, maybe they're trying to play into the fact that there's going to be no smoke available, and that's always something that helps the attackers, especially in the late game on the map like Clubhouse, where smoke is so crucial, as we always talk about the bloodbath, the chaos that happens in the final couple of seconds on a map like Clubhouse. Then yeah, this kind of does make a little bit of sense in some cases, and also open up the memorial, so Kitchen Hatch is going to be staying intact, but that's because impact draking on Kitchen Hatch is so easy to do in most circumstances. However, there is also a Pulse playing in there. Hey, you have to look at your options, and I do believe that we're seeing EnD make the correct ones.
Yeah, Ender choosing to use their utility and where it's going to be guaranteed in working and actually being able to get that off, which is always very important, especially when you've lost out on the Hibana so early on. But Vitality playing angles now on into sight, preparing for this final 20 or so seconds. Torok going to make his way through Memorial. Pre-fire shots are going to come through. Rotates out. Doesn't look like he's all too sure of which way he wants to go, as he knows there's plenty of Vitality players hiding on over in Church for him to start to face off against Qual. Holding a bit of a long angle there down onto Oil Pit. Torok does grab one onto Qual from Oil Pit, but will get traded out with ease as Spark picks up a 2k. All of a sudden, it is now a 2 versus 1. Nope, all said and done. Brid closing things out. 2 headshots. Pap, pap. And that will be all she wrote.
Vitality holding strong. This shows the impact on losing that Hibana early on. Kind of question EnD, where they're sending their Hibana, who is crucial for a basement attack, in first as the kind of fragging essence. Not even considering the fact that, sure, they did not drone the dock, which was the big mistake, but the fact that you're also then using your Hibana as a fragging operator, just don't agree with it. I just don't.
Not only that, but Hibana was droning herself in as well. And, you know, lost the drone, which was fine, but never checked that tight right-hand corner.
What? We've been blessed, Ollie. We're
seeing the Lord.
Wow.
It must be because it's Easter.
Chanka. Yes, it could be. It could be. But I think it's because, well, it's the Chanka man. Come on. Love him, hate him. He is the ruler of this entire game. He makes all the decisions. It, you know, has to go through the Chanka of any buster operators, you know? And he's like, oh, Capital change? I don't care about that. Sure, buff him. You know, stuff like that. Doesn't work.
Wouldn't he not buff himself?
No, because the Chanka at the moment is only using 1% of his total power. If we give him that extra 2%, he will not be stopped.
We've not seen his final form.
No, this is only 1% of an operator that we are seeing right now. We cannot give him any more. That will break the coding of the game. Don't understand. If we give this guy 100%, he's literally a walking minigun. That's what he walks about with, like just a minigun on the shoulder. That's it. He turns into the Terminator. The Chankinator, you could say.
Looks as though Sneaky has forgotten from his practice in scrims where he's meant to set up that turret, and he is just going to instead choose to use the submachine gun, which, to be fair, is one of the better submachine guns in the game in terms of accuracy. It really can get the headshots when required, and this could be a bit of an opening for EnD. It's all fun and games for Vitality to be bringing the Tachanka. It's you know, it's not a typical pick by any stretch of the imagination, but EnD could take advantage of this.
Just keep in mind that at the Gamers Assembly final, Aces did spawn kill with Tachanka against Team Vitality. So this could be a little bit of, hey, it worked for him, maybe it'll work for us. But I don't think that's going to be the circumstance, because at that stage, I'm pretty sure the stream were 6 rounds to 1 up. So they did have that little bit of leeway to have their fun. But in this scenario, I kind of can see Vitality. They're sitting high and dry. They're sitting top of the leaderboard. They have nothing to worry about. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire strat book just goes out the window for Vitality, because at this stage, they're just saving strats.
Yeah, they're just saving strats. They're just making sure that they're going into that playoff position with the best possible chance of being able to, you know, have something up their sleeve and something that they've maybe not let slip just as of yet. It does make a lot of sense because, you know, why wouldn't you? You are in a pretty dominant position at this moment in time, and there's no way that they are going to lose that top spot, especially with the draw going over to Ghost Skiller and Eminem. They were the only teams that were within a reach of making that top spot, but having both of them playing each other and they both drew, that is now no longer an opportunity. So Vitality can relax a little bit and they can have a little bit of fun with it, which is very important indeed. And EnD will no doubt play it their way, and I'm sure EnD are going to take some rounds, especially with this sort of attitude coming out from Vitality.
So EnD will start to put their attention over towards that Jacuzzi side, and well, good use of the Buck trying to open up in towards Spark, and the Hibana pelts will also be detonated. So Bathroom has now become a no man's land for either side. So that does create the space, it does allow attacker to try and peek in and out, but also it utilizes these windows in towards that south balcony even more so, because these defenders are going to be in much more awkward positions for themselves. But with 20 seconds to go, and really haven't got anything on the board. No first pick, no nothing at the moment. They'll start to approach in towards that main stairs, and this is where EnD, I'm sure, will start to swarm the bomb site. But Vitality are there with an answer. Bibian sneaky. I like how well it's came crashing down for EnD. Vitality, they have the bottle. They've managed to stick through. Easy cleanup, just like they've seen Vitality do on their basement defense.
And Vitality playing the defense very well indeed, not overexposing themselves. No real need to have any sort of a roaming presence. They are just making sure that they are able to hold in those final few seconds when the push does come through. Very good job there from them, not being greedy, not taking any unnecessary risks. It's kind of what you expect from Vitality at this moment in time. They are masters of the clock. And they're more than capable of using every last second of it. And on defense, you know, it's even easier to use every last second of it because there's no pressure on you. It's when you see them on attack that we really do often see them shine. No Tachanka pick this time for Sneaky. He's going to go from almost one end to the other, really, I guess. Going from Tachanka to Jaeger, and a clash going to be 6 picked out of there onto the Alibi. So more typical operator lineup, I guess.
Like, if we're seeing Vitality have a little bit of fun, you know, bringing to the Tachanka, having a little bit of meme to go about, I'm just, what's Pack versus Vitality gonna be like, Ollie?
It's probably going to be more of the same, I think, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think Vitality are choosing... It doesn't really matter what map they choose at this point, purely because they're showing us Clubhouse, but they're not really showing us what they want to do on Clubhouse. And that's just due to the nature of the operator picks and the way that they're actually playing it. They're not giving all too much away, so that makes a lot of sense from their point of view. And I think the packs will be very much the same, you know, just try and go there and do some really, you know, sort of typical strategies, you know? And just fun stuff, you know? Or maybe some fun stuff, you know. Yeah. You know, why not have a little bit of fun with it?
But at the end of the night, we could be casting rank for all we know, Ollie, but time will tell.
This is right. We've got spawn kills.
Again, just sneaky. Putting Sloppy in the bin. Sloppy is a player who... It's been a bit of a hit or miss season for him. I thought he had his good moments, but then sometimes where he doesn't show up and then really start to struggle. It's kind of like the Leon Gids Secrets kind of scenario, where if we don't see Sloppy dropping 15 plus kills and just kind of lose outright.
And that's not a fair pressure to put on the shoulders of anybody that's playing in a team. You can't rely on those kind of performances for any sort of consistency. And that's maybe something that EnD need to try and further work on, is being able to support Sloppy to consistently perform whilst all performing as well at the same time. The wall has been opened in a pretty speedy time, and it's going to allow Torok to rotate and grab the garage wall as well. Elation revealing his location there, shooting one of the Alibi Prismas, as we've got Spark on one of his Evil Eye cameras over on inside of Garage. He's going to be well placed to pick up some kills here if the drone work is not done properly. Sneaky is itching to jump out of that window, and it's only going to be a matter of time until he does, but nobody playing outside of gym and bedroom windows will leave his run out fruitless. Spark now seeing a little bit of pressure as the shots do start to come in from back of Brian at that garage breach.
Since Vitality got that first pick, it allows them the flexibility of roaming in towards that lounge area, which helps Sparks so much more, but doesn't really matter as we have seen the kill come in from the goo mine. So Spark, his kill gets stolen away from him with that goo mine, but we have lost 2 players, Spark and Brid alike, 2 players of EnD. Elation has been down, so it goes back into Vitality's favor, but the last 2 players of EnD, they've already taken control of the garage. Torok, he may be looking to go for the Rev. It'll be an awkward one, certainly on that balcony. You can get C4, and sorry, C4s on the board at the moment for the players of Vitality, but still a quick swing around from any player with a gun should be able to make that a successful run out. But Vitality, the patience game, you've talked about it before, Ollie. Great patience, knowing not to push. They have all control. They just have to wait it out. They still have intel from the Maestro camera in towards that catwalk. This is going everywhere that Vitality wants it to go. And even, look, Qual playing aggressive as well. I'm sure he'll come in momentarily as Elation has managed to find 1, finds 2 for himself. Massive plays from the Habana, and it's down. The Qual barely misses his shot, so he has alerted his position to the players of EnD. This surely should be a lockout round, and Elation, massive plays from him, a 4K from the Habana. My, oh my, Elation holding nothing back in this match.
Not often you see a 4K from the Hibana. Very tricky weapons to make, to help you frag out in that sort of scenario. You're not going to be picking up that many double kills, but getting the 4K there for his team Elation coming in huge, and that's just what EnD needed. And I think it's just at the right time because Vitality, they've had a little bit of fun. They've done a bit of spawn peeking. We've seen Tachanka picked. That's all great, but I think if you give EnD a bit of an opportunity, you're going to end up losing some rounds here. And, the more rounds that you play, the more chance you have for something to go wrong. So, Vitality need to step things up and need to, play in the way that we know them to be able to play. They have, been very passive in that sort of last half of the round, and that's not a bad thing, just holding their angles and making sure that they're not overexposing themselves. But EnD did the ring around the rosy pretty perfectly then, managing to get that revive, especially with it being onto Elation.
So we move into our next round, and it is going to be a 2-1 advantage to Vitality, and this is going to be round number 4. So for Vitality, like we've talked about, they have secured that #1 seed. Nobody can touch them in this scenario, so they can just play for fun as it is. For EnD, there is still that chance, that very slim chance, that Trust could lose both of their matches this evening. And if EnD then win both their matches, and hopefully for EnD, they would then like to see Supremacy and Extreme both lose their matches. So for EnD, the pressure is still there. There is still potential, but we know it's a very slim chance for them nonetheless.
I think that an ace from Elation. I think when we saw the scoreboard,
was it an ace?
Earlier,
I thought it was a
5,
4K.
and I don't remember him getting another kill.
Was it? Well, maybe. Hey,
I mean,
ace.
GG's if it was.
It was at least a 4K. We know that.
I just like to do it justice because, there's a big difference between a 4K and an ace.
There is. And
moving on into round number 4 now. And we will see a little bit of pressure coming over onto Garage Catwalk. Torque there, just trying to get some shots down. Not really managing to find all too many, as this is going to eat up a large portion of time. And this is something that EnD are dealing with quite well. We saw the frag grenades come through there from Sloppy. That's going to just push back players over on inside of Cash and make Garage Control that much easier to attain, but it has taken a minute to do so.
Time is starting to be wasted for EnD, which is always great for defensive side, especially on a Church, where is just complete annihilation during those final couple of seconds. The aggression comes in, the drops, and this complete bloodbath of bullets being fired back and forth. But we have already seen 2 quick kills from either team. We have seen Bibu manage to take down Panics, but before that, we did see Qual fall on the blue stairs. So, Jaeger for the Ashe in that scenario. Pretty good trade-off, I think, in terms of Vitality. Jaeger already placed down his ADSs, so that's not really a worry. And Ashe getting those breaching charges off the wall. Pretty good.
Clear.
Yeah, I think Ash had already managed to deal with one of the Evil Eye cameras, but there's still going to be another one loose, so it's always handy to have one of those in your back pocket just to deal with those bulletproof cameras. Not a lot of progression has been made since the Garage Control. I think we've seen Torok really hanging around just inside of Garage. Vigil is going to be fairly close to him. We just got that glimpse on a drone there. Elation looking for the kills through the bottom of kitchen floor. If Torok keeps holding that angle, he could see some success over onto Sneaky, and he does. It was the Vigil, and he's going to pick up that kill upstairs with relative ease. Brid, C4 primed and ready, and that's going to make Elation just a little bit conscious upstairs if Elation has heard the C4 rip, of course, because that's always a pretty nice nitro cell toss over onto Church. But we're going to see a kill there. Another one for Elation. He's on a tear this evening as the drone work comes through for these final couple of seconds. 4-2 now in favor of EnD, and this is going to be looking pretty good for them. But Brid comes in clutch with a 2K as I don't know what happened. I don't know how we get a draw off the back of that. It was 4 versus 2 going into that. Brid and Bibu going huge for their team.
Oh my.
What?
This is the first draw I think we've had in EU Challenge League. Unbelievable, but stuff like this does happen. Baby and Sloppy both trade it. We've seen a trade actually in our last match between Ghost Skillet and M&M, so it's not an uncommon thing. Well, it is a bit of an uncommon thing, but overall, we've seen it before. It goes a draw, so this means that both sides each get a point. So this kind of skews with, because we could be coming out of round number 6 with someone leading 4-3. Bit of a weird one, that.
It is a weird one. We do see sort of trades, straight trades, or
It
one-for-one
happens,
trades.
yeah.
It does happen, but it's not all the time that you actually see it result in a round win. That is the strange thing about it.
Can we also just keep in mind that Bibu played out of his skin to even get that draw? The man just challenged 3 players at once and came out with a draw. Incredible from the Maestro. Yes, we know Maestro did get nerfed with his Evil Eye. His LMG is still one of the best defender guns in the game.
Yeah, it's almost the Evil Eyes almost weren't the problem. They're very strong and they are very powerful, but 81 rounds in the Alder. I mean, he didn't really need that many because you could see the way that BB was hitting his shots. It had been nice to see that sort of full kill cam because it was pretty quick there, but 3K with a couple of sort of 180-degree flicks in there as well for good measure. Very, very impressive.
Don't see that every day. Sure, we'll certainly bookmark that for the archives. And as we head into our next defense, and it will be going up to Cash, where Vitality did lose a round. So how will they come back from Elation? As you said, I think you did say it was an ace from Elation as well in that last round. Incredible gun skill from him. Elation's really stepped up. At the start of the season for EnD, Toric and Elation were miles behind the rest of the team. They were the weak points. Elation, all of a sudden, has just been revitalized. Bibu, unfortunately, not managing to find the right side of the wall. So that has been the beachhead established for EnD, and this has cut off sections for the bomb site.
Done very quickly as well, almost within the first 30 or so seconds. The drones are going to flood in now. It's going to provide Elation some information to peek from, and what about that for good information? Finds the head of Bibu behind the deployable shield. Bibu, of course, going huge last round, so to be able to take him out of the picture early on is going to be very good news for the players of EnD indeed. Now garage control can start to be established from Sloppy. We've also got panics there on the IQ sensor. Just trying to find any of those electronics. And Back O'Brien can come through to help deal with those as the Thatcher. With the wall being open and Elation still on it, the rest of his team needs to be working hard now in getting other control and control of other areas to be able to try and execute on this push.
Quick score update for everybody. At the moment, we have currently having Trust play Pact. If Trust win that match, they go through to playoffs. Doesn't matter what any other team does. If they win one match, they secure that 4th seed. At the moment, we are currently seeing Pact, the relegated team, up 4-2 against Trust. So at the moment, Trust are on the back foot, Pact in the lead. So this could be disaster for the players of Trust, but we'll see if they can try and get themselves back up and see if they can make it to those playoffs.
Grenade toss comes in there from Sloppy. He does get eaten up by the ADS. It's going to save Spark's life. He's also seeing some pressure from Garage Shaw. Gets some good shots in, but it's going to be Elation again that finds the headshot. Qual hiding over on an oil pit, just biding his time, waiting to see if he can get an angle onto anybody as the site is becoming an increasingly dangerous place to be for the defenders. Shots come through from Qual, but doesn't manage to land any sneaky as full flash inside of the site. Panics entering upside of Cash Stairs, finds one onto Brid. 5 versus 2 now. I'm sure we're not going to see another draw this round. This has got to be going toward EnD with 25 seconds left. Qual hiding over inside of Blue. Does peek out and get the kill over onto Panics, making this a 4 versus 2. Tora will start the defuse. Qual with a double, grabbing one of his two. What? How are Vitality doing this? They've gone from a 4 versus 2 to another round win, or at least another point on the board.
My, oh my, Vitality. These guys do realize they don't need to win this match, don't they? Come on, give EnD a break. Not impressed. But hey, Vitality. Unbelievable. Like, that is stuff which really... It really significantly changes the outcome of momentum for another team. Like, you know, if you're sitting in a 4-2 advantage, and then you throw a 4v2, it is absolutely horrific. You just feel so bad sitting with everybody after you've just thrown around. And I'm sure it's probably how EnD are feeling right now.
The thing is, to get the draw out of it in round number 4, there's going to be a bit of like a, what happened there? But it's okay because both teams got a point. So you're both going to be happy with that. But then coming away and then finding themselves in another like 4 versus 2, 5 versus 3 situation, and then losing it again, I just don't think they're giving themselves enough time to be able to execute. And if there's one team that are very good under pressure and under the clock, it is Vitality. Look at their ability to be able to get those kills. It's 2 and 3 Ks in the final couple of seconds, and they're doing it round after round.
We move into our next round, and it will once again be that church that we know. We've seen it time and time again, an absolute bloodbath, a chaotic end of a round. Last time we played church, ended in a draw, so that's as chaotic as you can get that. So does that mean if you draw a round, it means that then you can go back? It means if you didn't win that bomb site, is that correct? Because it seems to be that case.
Yeah, I think both teams get a
Very
point.
strange.
To what happens. It isn't something that we do see all too often, so I'm not too familiar. I could be I stand to be corrected on that, but
it seems to be.
I do believe that you can go back to that side, but I'm not sure why they didn't go back straight away. Maybe it just puts like a 1-round rotation parameter on it. Not too sure.
I think it is. I think it just counts that as a loss, even though you got a point.
Yeah.
Weird, because you didn't. Technically, you didn't win the bomb site, so they don't count as if you won that. You know? Strange, very strange. But we head in, and we start moving into our next bit of preparation phase work for the attackers, and this is where they start to clear out roamers, get themselves in positions, get sloppy working on the floor. This is just basic stuff on a map like Clubhouse, where we know attackers have all the time in the world to make things happen, and still keep in mind, smoke is off the table, no smoke available, so it just gives those attackers that extra 30 seconds to make things happen for themselves, and just take that little bit more of prep time, try and look for those early picks. Really, if you see attackers have those, potentially 2 early picks, you go into a 5 versus 3, you never really expect defenders to ever win that, unless you're Bibi with an LMG.
Unless you are Bibi with an LMG, or unless you're sneaky, and quite literally sneaky.
Literally,
Sneaky did it in the previous round, but it really just goes to show that it's never said and done in Siege, and EnD need to work on that sort of mid to late round droning, making sure they've got enough drones and enough information to make those final pushes, because the comms must be quite confused as the kills are coming in that quickly, and they do seem to be just stacking up a little bit. Panic's going to be droning down into blue now, droning himself in, just seeing if he can provide any information for Sloppy. Sloppy playing on the stock hatch, as Panic's not wanting to push this all too much. He's going to wait for pressure to be applied over on inside of Church, as that is going to allow him a little bit of breathing room, as Brid does grab one of the bandit tricks. He's not going to be able to replace that battery, so he is going to fall back to just around the bomb itself, just right next to the table, as Bibi is playing hard of the breach, but Elation will find that kill. He does get downed in the process. Not sure if there's anyone able to go and pick him up. Qual is well placed. 2 players are pushed in through blue, but the call didn't come through. Sloppy finds one on Sneaky. Bibi trades it out onto back of Brian, and Qual will be down by Panics. Another 4 versus 1 situation, effectively 3 versus 1 as Elation is down. And look at Spark, he's going to town. He's managed to pick up a 2K. We're now in an effective 1 versus 1 situation. Torok is planting the diffuser in the default spot. Pre-fire shots come through, but do not manage to land. What is Torok going to do in this scenario? He's going to have to find somewhere to try and hold this from, because Spark is no doubt going to be working from some sort of information. He knows there's a player down over near main stairs area. Elation is now being revived, and that's probably a good play there from Torok, but no one on the diffuser, no one looking. Is he going to get down in time, or is he going to run into bullets? He runs into bullets. Spark grabs one, but Torok closes things out. What a clutch there. It could have gone so differently, though. EnD finds themselves in another 4 versus 1, coming down to a 1v1.
This is not how Siege should happen. We should not be relying in a 1 versus 4 to then nearly lose that round in a post-plant situation. This stuff doesn't happen. This is just made up stuff. This isn't real. This match is not real. I don't believe it to be, because they're so... EnD are doing everything correct, and then as soon as they get to the last guy, they just crumble. I don't understand. Still, a nice effort from Spark. I almost thought he had that, and if he did, well, I just would have flipped the book and went away, because it should not happen. That almost was another throw for EnD. That would have been 3 throws on the bounce for them.
I mean, it's not as much of a throw as it's just Vitality's ability to just keep on fighting. And EnD are really underestimating these Vitality players in a 1 versus X situation. It's just not something that you can afford to do, especially going up against Elysian. That SMG shreds. it can be a real headshot machine. And, you know, Spark proved that there. The double kill that he picked up, all of a sudden, with one player being down, it was effective 1 versus 3. But then 2 players try and push him and both lose their life because they didn't quite push him together. It just makes it so difficult then for Torok remaining. But he did a great job in clutching the round out.
Just don't peek. That's as simple as it is. It's day rule 1 of Siege. Do not peek in a situation where you have man advantage. Just don't do it, because you give away early kills. Sure, you may want to try and get yourself in the scoreboard, but not in that way where it could potentially cost your team a round. Just hold an angle. At that stage, the defender then becomes an attacker. He has to retake the bomb site. I don't know anymore. But let's move into our next round. As yes, it does say round number 7, but it is still 4 versus 3, or 4 rounds to 3, because there was a draw, which meant both teams got a point. So anyone tuning in, that is the situation that we have at hand. So Vitality, bringing the old Glaz Monty combo. You have 4 sets of smokes. You have a shield that can move as an impenetrable wall, a human drone, many people like to call them, which is bulletproof. And then Baby, of course, on that Glaz with the OTS, the Glaz change that we know is currently being worked on by Ubisoft to mean that you have to stand still if you want that thermal scope to work. It is still not in effect as of yet, so it isn't still as strong as it ever is. The only change that we know that did happen was that Lion change, but he's still not out of quarantine for anything related to ESL.
No, Lion still hasn't managed to break out of the cage despite the recent nerf, but we will have to see what happens in further seasons. Drone work coming through now. Spark just taking his Twitch drone down on into sight, just outside of Memorial now. Going to be looking for any Valkyrie cameras that he could find. Panics is going to be playing the Valk, so there is potential for one of those cameras. Takes out the default and just makes his way on in. I'm interested to see where the Monty gets put here, because usually you would expect kitchen hatch control and then go in through sort of dirt tunnel and try and cut off the site that way. That's an option for bringing the Monty, but they've not brought, Vitality haven't brought the thermite. So Qual's going to be left trying to push himself down blue stairs, which can be difficult as there are a lot of angles through there, especially if the wall has been opened or there's some murder holes in through toward church.
Also, Goo Mines is something that Montagna always has to be cautious of. He is literally only countered by a few gadgets, that being echo drones, that being smoke canisters, smoke off the board, and also Goo Mines are a big hindrance for him, just like Blitz. Here comes the power that Glaz produces under the cover of the fog. Bibby will find back at Brian, but a quick response from him, but doesn't matter. Bibby's in the bomb site. He's starting to get to work. Pushes back out. Doesn't want to test his luck any more so without another smoke grenade to back him up. We'll be looking for another pick as Qual just lurking over on the other side, not doing much at this stage. Here comes the peek around from Bibby, who is inside of the bomb site. Did dodge a nitro cell. Where's everybody else from Vitality? Where's Spark? Where's Braid? Why aren't they supporting in this push? You would expect a full collapse. The wallbang comes in, and there we go. Spark and Braid finally wake up, and they get torque and sloppy alike. It's time to panic inside of a 1 versus 4. Here comes the onslaught of Vitality. Pistol comes out, and Bibby's there to finish off the job. Great round from Vitality. Bibby putting in a big amount of work for that round.
Really making full use of Glaz there, especially as you say before his nerf changes are due to be I don't know when they're due. I think they'll be due maybe end of
I think
season.
maybe next season. I think we'll probably see that at the esports panel reveal or whatever panel it's revealed on. We'll have to see.
Over on in Milan. So yeah, making full use of Glaz while he can, and why not? It is going to put Vitality on 5 rounds to 3. So they are 1 round away from confirming a draw, and going to be 2 rounds away from clutching out this win. And they're going to take us over to gym and bedroom, which bit of an off pick, I'd say. Maybe you would expect Cash as a second choice bomb site on Clubhouse. As gym and bedroom, once you've lost control of Jacuzzi Wall, it can just be a real difficult place to be.
The way I look at it, if EnD win Cash, they inevitably have to go for the gym and bedroom. Doesn't really matter since the objective rotation parameter mean if you win 2 defensive on the round, then you have to go for a 3rd pick bomb site. You're going gym and bedroom either way. If you're defending Cash, you may as well go for it. It's not as if we're seeing a bar in stock, because then that would certainly be unusual, especially for European Challenger League, where I don't think we've seen that bomb site be played, and we've had a lot of Clubhouse. I'm actually curious to see what is the most played map we've had this season. I feel it is Clubhouse. We've cast a lot of Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse is probably up there. It's one of those maps that's just sort of like we've talked about the popularity of it before. It really is just so popular, and it's just due to the changes really that have been implemented onto it.
So, and they will have this gym and bedroom to deal with, and Sloppy, he may be looking to play aggressive. That's something that we've said many times, Sloppy being that main fragger. I'm pretty sure I checked the operator statistics for Sloppy. He has not played a single operator on defense but Jaeger. Every single round inside this Challenger League, he has always played that operator.
You need a Jaeger. Jaeger's an operator that you need. It's a 100% pick. There's no operator that does Jaeger's job. We saw that in the recent Win Delta that was put out by Ubisoft, showing just how often Jaeger is picked. But there's nothing that Jaeger can be replaced for. Bandit being allowed to trick there is a bit of a shame.
I don't really understand why we wouldn't see Habana put the holes right in the middle between both sides, so you at least open one part of the wall. You know, you can't Bandit trick two things at once. Very questionable there from Brid that he didn't go for that. And also, no Thermite being brought by Vitality on a map that we've talked about has so much destruction where Bandit rules all, and you don't have Maverick to deal with those Bandit tricks. So the only options you have is either Thatcher Grenade manages to find those Bandits, which is very unlikely, and then the other option is that you have Habana pellets going one side of the wall and the exothermic charge going the other side of the wall. It's the only viable way you can get rid of a Bandit trick if you do not have the Maverick. So we head into 1 minute 50. Vitality still searching for the early pick. They are once again bringing that shield. And this time they do have that Dokkaebi to give them a little bit more of an oomph factor whenever they go for that final execution. Alerts the positions of EnD and also provides 2 smoke canisters as well, which is always going to be useful.
Pressure now coming through over onto Logistics. Sneaky opening things up with a kill onto Sloppy, and Spark following it through as well. You can hear the Logic Bomb ticking off in the distance, and that's provided Vitality with 3 kills. Back O'Brien going to reply with 1 of his own before getting traded out instantly. 3 versus 1 now. Panic's left all alone over on side Cash. He's going to have to make his way back on into the site. The diffuser is going down, and Vitality are looking pretty good in this round. Another Logic Bomb call comes through. That's going to give a good idea to the remaining players on Vitality as to where this remaining player is pushing through from. No C4 in hand, but still quite possible. He could use his heartbeat scanner to locate some information. Pre-fire shots come through. A little bit of a dip there from Spark, and he grabs that kill.
Excellent round for Vitality. Their execution as crisp as always. That Dokkaebi just providing them something extra. And also, it was on the table, but did not see those mute jammers being utilized as much as they could in terms of disallowing that Dokkaebi call to go through. Questionable plays by EnD. Panics over in towards Cash whenever the diffuser's being planted. Positioning is a big question for EnD and how they're starting to play this out. And whenever it was a 5v5 going into those final 30 seconds with the wall over beside Jacuzzi not being opened either, you would kind of think that would be a lockout round for EnD because they just have to watch that drop hatch. But that Montagne shield was the big factor. That's the reason why Vitality got it, because we can see Montagne drop, gain all that intel like that human bulletproof drone. He sees you, you see him, you can't kill him. That's the issue that EnD are starting to run into, is they cannot deal with the shield.
And it's very difficult to deal with. I think they had the right idea in construction. We saw, I think it was Elation rotate over and into construction, use an impact grenade on the wall, open up that line of sight and try and get some shots down onto any of the players dropping into Logistics, but it just wasn't to be for the players of EnD. I think the Logic Bomb was timed, well, both of them were timed to perfection, coming through just at the right time, and that will put Vitality onto a match point.
Another quick update as well for any Extreme Video Esports fans. Unfortunately, your team has been relegated from this season of EU Challenger League. They had lost their match earlier this evening. Well, that does keep the hopes for supremacy alive at the moment. So I'm sure Supremacy are probably rooting for the players at Pact, which I believe Pact versus Trust is currently 5-5 at the moment, looking to go in towards a 6-5 or a potential draw for both those teams. So the pressure is on Trust, the pressure is on EnD and Supremacy, but kind of looking towards EnD also joining Extreme in that relegation battle.
Absolutely, it is looking like a bit of a tall order now for EnD to try and clutch this one out. They've not really had much of a response for anything that Vitality have been doing on their attacks, as Vitality have just seemed a little bit more sort of coordinated in what they are doing. Qual and Bibu just waiting here outside a garage, just using the drones, using their information. They have been echo drones, so locations are going to be known. Torok is going to be hiding behind that soft wall. Bibu is going to maybe go for the bait and switch, opens up the wall. That's going to allow Qual to peek on through, finds the head at the top of East Stairs onto back of Brian. Traded out instantly by Torok over inside a garage, though. Qual unable to really help his teammate there in that scenario with the shield. Sneaky, aware of someone's presence over inside of blue, as the push will now start to come through under the cover of smoke. Torok finds two great headshots there coming through from Torok, making that his third of this round. And well, it looks as though EnD have got a bit of a response for Vitality's push so far. Halfway through the round, and it looks as though this could be looking good for EnD.
See you on the other side.
No Thatcher, but seems to be the Twitch will do the job for Vitality. And still in it at the moment, but I'm pretty sure because of that draw, it does mean that they can no longer qualify for the playoffs. So at this stage, EnD Gaming, they have been relegated no matter what the outcome, simply because Trust, I believe, is too far ahead in terms of points. Well, actually, no, that's not true, because if EnD draw this match and then win their next one, no, then they will actually be on 17 points, so they're relegated either way. So at this point, EnD are just playing for themselves. And Vitality, like we know, they don't really care about this round, or this match, should I say. They are already qualified first seed, no matter what. So what can Brid and Spark do for themselves? Not a lot. Sloppy on the catwalk. Headshot onto Brid, and Spark, well, he rotates downstairs. Starts pre-firing, he gets sent sky high by the Nitro Cell. But still, match point for Vitality, but EnD with a bit of fight back.
Yeah, and showing us there, they have still got this fight. Nice C4 toss coming through there to close things out. What about Torok playing downstairs as the Echo? Just wasn't pressured at all from garage door, or I don't think garage walls were open on the ground floor either. And I think Spark and Qual just having a really tough time of trying to push him out of there and make anything happen.
Church and Arsenal is where EnD will be headed. See how they do with this particular defense. Last time they played it, it was a Vitality attacking win, but that was Bibu playing massive on the glass, and doesn't look to be picking this operator this time about, or he could be. Yeah, he sneaks in the 6th pick off the glass. Looks to be the exact same lineup that Vitality run with. I'm pretty sure Brid was not in the Fermat, he was on the Hibana in the last round, so they could actually be looking for a triple wall push.
I think it's almost a bit of a shame that they're not just trying to... Well, they went for the triple wall push last time, I suppose, and it was Bibu that did some great work on the glass, so it's going to be difficult, really, for EnD to try and, respond to that, because they didn't have all too much. I quite like the Capcom pick. It could result in a couple of cheeky EDDs going off, and it will certainly help, especially if it's Qual that finds them on the shield. Because the shield's the one that EnD really needs to look toward dealing with. Qual is proving himself to be a real nuisance for the defenders on that Monty.
Panic also bring in the cap count. Let's see if those entry denial devices can do anything at the moment. Quick update, still that match, that Pack Trust match, one of the biggest matches we have here tonight. 6-5 is how it goes for Pack, so they have denied Trust at least 2 points, but we can still see a point at least come back for Trust.
That's a big result for Pack. I don't think anyone really would have been expecting that one. Sneaky opening things up with the first kill onto Elation in this round. Match point, of course, for Vitality, and what better player to take away than Elation. He's been on a tear this evening, been doing some great work for his team in the kills department and in the support department as well. So a big opening kill there coming through for Vitality, but as is typical to their nature, a very thorough roam clear going on upstairs before they look to try and execute down on to site. Spark did take out the static cam. He's going to receive some points of damage there. I think it is going to be Torok that could be playing at the top of those stairs, which could be a little bit risky.
It is risky indeed. You put yourself at a very aggressive position, which can work both ways, but for the most part, all it takes is one drone to figure out how you're trying to play the match. And well, I'm sure that shield will start knocking at the door momentarily. We know that Qual is still alive, but there is still those entry denial devices scattered about the map, and if the ball does walk in through one of those, that's 40 health gone off your Montanya, and an operator who is very tanky in what he provides the free armor. Whenever there is other operators there like Echo, who is a counter to Montanya, then maybe those quick couple of shots you get off an Echo Drone burst could be enough thanks to those explosive devices. But as it stands, Vitality, they're going to start in with their entire prep phase of their final onslaught in towards the bomb site. They'll start to work their way, and I'm sure Qual will probably assist Sneaky in pushing down in towards that blue, with Bibu more than likely playing aggressive on that Memorial like we've seen him do time and time again. So both hatches are going to be opened, and it will be the blue, and it will be the Memorial. Kitchen still being that red-headed stepchild that nobody really wants to go to because it can be impact tricked so well. And Bibu actually going for the main stairs approach, so they are changing things up. Let's see where this takes us.
Panics will find one onto Qual. Bibu didn't pull the trigger in time onto Panics. 3 quick kills come through for EnD. Sneaky now left facing it off against the main door, just down to basement stairs. As hatch has been opened, but pressure coming through from all sides. But no, Brid, you're not going to down Sneaky. He gets the kill onto Torek, and Sneaky is collateral damage at that point. 24 seconds left. We've seen what Vitality can do on defense with little to no time. Let's see what they can do on attack. Can they convert on this match point right now? Brid still playing at the top of Memorial. Hatch Jaeger just inside of Showers, looking to drop maybe. Backer Bryant is full flash. Panics finds one onto Sneaky. All of a sudden it is all down to Bibu, but no. Sloppy is going to get the kill and close things out. Again, another close couple of exchanges in those final few seconds, and could have gone either way again, but EnD staving off that match point another round.
Very lackluster drone work from Vitality, allowing roamers to be playing upstairs. Very questionable on their hands. And sure, maybe if they knew there was roamers, but they didn't want to go for the roam hunt, just rush with your Montanya and Glass combo. That works quite a charm whenever there is only one limited C4 for that defending side, but could have been used in many ways. So for the most part, and they've started to bounce back a little bit. So this is going to be our final round of this evening. And this is going to be round number 11. So we may be seeing 11 rounds and end up with a 6-6 draw simply because of that earlier round number 4 where we did see a final trade and it went for a draw between both these teams, which meant they got each a point. Also, another thing for an update is that heavily contested match, Pack versus Trust, has came to a conclusion and it has went for a 6-6 draw. So what that does to the standings, it means that we're going to see Trust now sitting on 19 points with Supremacy on 17. So it comes down to Trust playing against EnD. If EnD beat Trust, then Trust will stay at 19. So it comes down to Supremacy versus M&M. If M&M win, Trust go through no matter what. If Supremacy win, then that means Trust have to beat EnD. So very close, right down to the wire as we head into our final half later on this evening.
And with the way that we've seen EnD playing in this matchup tonight, that's not really something that Trust want to be relying on. We've seen EnD pull out some great clutches. Torok and Elation are both on fire in terms of, you know, double, triple, and even an ace. It's just great to see Sloppy as well doing his bit for his team in the kills department. So, yeah, I don't think as Trust you really want to be relying all too much on that result with EnD, but we'll have to see as the night progresses. First of all, are we going to see Vitality switching things up a little bit now? Are we going to see them play a little bit differently? They've got themselves, or they've been on match point for a good number of rounds now, and to avoid this draw, are we going to see them play just a little bit differently? We've seen the Capitao. All of a sudden, that's a bit of something new. That's no doubt going to be to help remove the Bandit from being able to trick in comfort, especially with the new Capitao update.
The special member Sophia has been banned, coming right back to those bans. The fact that Sophia isn't here means that a deployable shield that Backer Brian could be hiding behind is going to be there staying intact. So their only option is those firebolts. And like we've talked about kind of throughout the night with the new patch dropping on the Tuesday, the night right after we had our last week's Challenge League, those new Capitao bolts are in effect. So those wider area of damage is going to be great utilized by Bibu.
And you can hear there the wall will start to be open. Bibu has used one of the asphyxiating bolts, as you kindly say, Demo, and yeah, wider area of effect on the damage, so it does make them a little bit more useful, I guess, in terms of rooting out defenders, and you don't have to overexpose yourself all too much to be able to place them either. So with the wall being open, Brid's are now going to be allowed to just put a little bit of pressure onto it as the remainder of the Vitality squad just do some drone work and figure out where the players on End are going to be hiding. No real reason for End to peek this all too much. They've done a great job of getting themselves to within 1 round of match point, and I'm sure having come this far, they're going to want to try and at least get the draw out of this evening.
Minute to go. This is it for End and Vitality. 4 versus 5, as Sneaky did get finished off earlier on. Baby will come in contact, but Baka Brian will be there finally. He starts to get some kills on the board. A very lackluster performance from the Bandit so far. So it's down to the final 3 remaining members of Vitality. They have options. They could try and drop Hatch and also push in towards Accusey, trying to create a crossfire. We'll see the drop in from Qual, but straight away, Baka from the pre-play C4. That will be enough to send him flying. Comes out 2 versus 4. Spark first and Brid going up against the 4 final remaining members. They start to push in. Those goo mines will come into great effect, but they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They have to try and go for the defuse, and I'm sure Brid will try and go for that. As Spark tries to challenge on in, but the pixel from Sloppy will be there. And well, this is pretty much all Shiro, unless Brid can pull off some of those magic clutches that we know about. But hey, he takes the challenge downstairs and puts Panics to bed. But that isn't going to be the only thing he gets. Not enough time, and it ends in a 6-6 draw.
An evening of draws. I think Vitality have got to be looking at that and thinking to themselves that they were in positions multiple times to win that game. Look at Sloppy coming out with 10 kills for his team, doing great. Like you say, a bit of a lackluster performance from Baka Brian, getting a couple of assists, hitting 4 assists there, but only 3 kills isn't going to be enough. But the rest of his team really stepped up to the plate. You commented on it earlier. If Sloppy performs, the rest of the team tends to do quite well and rallies around. Couple that with Elation doing exceptionally well in a couple of rounds on attack as Hibana, and you know, you've got yourself a bit of a winning combination there. So End are going to be really pleased with that result. I'm very sure of that.
And well, they walk away with a draw, but as we know, their hopes are gone for making it into the playoffs. They have been relegated along with Extreme, but we still do have that playoff race still going on between Trust and Supremacy. We're going to see Supremacy up next against Eminem. Make sure you stick around for that one, because it is going to be one heck of a match, I can assure you. Until then.